Hello, friends. Welcome to 2026. This is the year that we reclaim our health. I am dedicated to bringing you amazing content and connections that are going to help you learn all about your body, how it works, and how to optimize your own health. This year is going to be an amazing year, no matter whether you're just starting a health journey, whether you're deep into the trenches and looking to learn all the things, or you want to expand your business as a practitioner or a creator in some way, shape, or form. There are going to be inspiring stories, amazing conversations, and deep wisdom. And to kick off the year, I couldn't be more thrilled to be joined by Dr. Catherine Clinton. We are starting the year sharing her depth of knowledge and wisdom in quantum biology. Big word, feels scary, so approachable when she breaks it down for you as to simply this is the foundation from which we build from. Her new book is launching as this episode goes live, so you can click through, grab it, get yourself a copy, and kick off your new year and your new health with a fresh new perspective. I'm not asking you to go to the gym. I'm not asking you to sign up for a new membership or dedicate yourself to a new health practice every single day. I'm asking you to pick up a book, start your knowledge journey into quantum biology, and see how simply you can shift everything in your life. I'm going to take you right into my conversation with Dr. Catherine Clinton, where I think you're going to enjoy in depth how much we can access health and well being for ourselves. And I look forward to seeing what you think in the comments. If you think this conversation resonates with you and you'd love to share it with others, please subscribe, share. It helps us bring you more content throughout the course of the year and have these messages of reclamation of health find more people. Here's my conversation with Dr. Catherine Clinton.
Hello, welcome. So excited to have you here today. Yay. Hi,
I
Catherine.
am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me today, Carrie.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Catherine, I am so excited for this conversation because variety of different reasons. One, I've been following your work for some time and just love what you share and how accessible and easy you make what can feel like a little bit of a daunting
Mhm.
topic. So let's start there because while I understand it's funny when I think about quantum biology or quantum anything and we put that very scientific word on top of things, it can feel like maybe I should have gone to MIT to understand this. But it doesn't, but actually, like when I strip that word off of it, I'm like, oh, this is very natural and easy. So
Yeah,
take us through what is quantum biology and why should we care?
absolutely. That's a great question because it really is a new emerging field that a lot of people haven't been introduced to, but it's really exciting because we have been approaching the body, medicine, healthcare from this chemical mechanical view of the body so that health is chemical balance and mechanical alignment, and disease or symptoms arise from chemical imbalance or a mechanical misfiring or misalignment. Now, we know that's true, but that only explains a part of it. When we look at the body, we are trillions and trillions of cells, and each one of those cells is completing hundreds of thousands of tasks. Some researchers put it into the millions of tasks each second. Inside of a cell, each second, so many different things happening. And the dominant explanation is a random collision model. So you have things floating around the cell, they find their receptor, they come in contact, unlock that receptor, and action happens. Now we know that's true, but mathematically, hundreds of thousands of tasks each second in trillions and trillions of cells is impossible without explanation. And that's where quantum biology comes in. Quantum biology is really the study of waves of information and how they impact different parts of our body and create measurable biological action. They create things we see in our lab results, symptoms that we feel, health or disease. And what do I mean by waves of information? I'm talking about light, I'm talking about sound, I'm talking about electrical fields, magnetic fields, electromagnetic fields. I'm talking about our thoughts and emotions. All of these things can be categorized as waves that hold energy and information. And we're used to thinking of this with our technology, right? I can mail you a letter today, and we know that that's a tried and true form of communication. But if I want to talk to you right now, I can send you an email. And that goes through these unseen waves in our Wi Fi. Those waves hold not only energy, but information. I can send information to you. And the same thing is happening in the body. So it's this expanded understanding of how the body works, and it gives us an expanded toolkit on how to approach health and healing in the body that is faster, more efficient than that chemical mechanical model. It doesn't negate that,
Mhm.
it just expands that understanding, and it's really exciting.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, if you think about that number of things happening every second, it makes sense that it would be faster, right? Because the time period we're working with is so compressed compared
Mhm.
to what it takes to see a scab heal or a broken bone or lose weight or all those different things through eating and sleeping, right? Those only happen every 24 hours. So
Yeah,
very cool. Okay. So we
yeah.
can think of this as like little emails being sent throughout our body all the time with content and information, instructions, requests, etc. throughout ourselves.
Yes, that's a great way to look at it. And really what it is it's a way of communication that's not local, right? We don't have to make that physical contact like we were talking about before with things floating around the cell and then they come to a receptor and unlock the receptor. We don't have to have that randomness where it's bumping around trying to find the receptor. And we don't have to have that physical contact. It's like two tuning forks, right? Where you strike one tuning fork and the other one, tuned to that same frequency, starts to sing out that message. Same thing seems to be happening in the body. This language of light, of frequency, of sound, and it has measurable and predictable outcomes in the body. And it's really exciting that it's becoming adopted more and more in mainstream medicine because, like I said, it's non invasive and it's really fast. So, pairing it with our current model of health really gives us so many more options, so many more tools at a time when we are in an epidemic of chronic disease, metabolic dysfunction. I mean, so many things are happening with our healthcare, and we are in desperate need of some more tools.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it feels like a race to find new tools and new methodologies. And
Mhm.
it feels like wow, we have this one already existing within us. And now we have tools that allow us to understand it and see it and really
Yeah.
start to tap into it, which we didn't have before as we've continued to refine our own physical tools.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, just looking at the arena of light, I mean, it
Yeah.
was 2017 that 3 researchers were awarded the Nobel Prize for their work on chronobiology, and that's just a big word for how light impacts life, how it impacts our body and health. And they found that almost every single cell in the body has a circadian gene or what they call a circadian clock, meaning the light in our environment is foundational to our hormones, our immune system, our inflammatory uh, balance, our metabolic health, our neurotransmitters and neurological function. I mean, all of that is being guided by the light in our environment, and we have control over that. It's a pretty simple thing we can do to guide our health.
Yeah, absolutely. I wow, 2017, I'm a little awestruck
Yeah.
at, like, how recent that is and also
Yeah.
how fast in the world we're moving right now, but,
Mhm.
um, wow, 2017. So, let's dig into this light thing for just a second, which
Okay.
is, okay, if our body is communicating through waves of energy, right? Waves of
Mhm.
information, light, sound, etc. Are our cells emitting light? Is that something we can see? Are they are my cells making sounds? Like, is that the way we think about it, or is there like a different definition for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is hard to wrap our heads around this, right?
Yeah.
Because it is so new. This is not something we learned in school.
Yeah.
Uh, but but absolutely, our cells create their own form of light. It's called biophotons. It's been researched for decades and decades. And these biophotons seem to be a form of communication. There was a research study just this year showing that our mitochondria are those little organelles in our cells that make cellular energy. And we know definitely from the research that any dip in mitochondrial function or the production of ATP, that cellular energy, has been associated with almost every modern disease out there. They're so foundational to our health. And this recent research showed that our mitochondria, they produce biophotons, they produce this very weak level of light and they are using this light to communicate with each other. So it's just absolutely mind blowing. And so it's the light within us that our cells are creating, our DNA, our mitochondria, when they are going about metabolic and biological functions, but also the light in our environment, how well we are aligned with the rhythm of the rising and setting of the sun, right? We have been living with that as a primary signal for so long, for millennia. And now we live in these environments where we're really cut off from that circadian rhythm. And going outside in the morning, getting natural light in our eyes, that sets our hormones, our immune system. It triggers the conversion of neurotransmitters so we feel calm, happy, motivated. It initiates metabolic function so that we are burning what needs to be burned and doing what needs to be done. It's just absolutely incredible the biological cascades that are triggered by natural light, whereas artificial light triggers some biological functions that we don't necessarily need when we're exposed to that light. So it's the light within us. Our
Yeah.
cells are creating light, they're creating sound, but also the light in our environment, the sound in our environment. Same thing with electromagnetic fields. Our cells create their own unique electromagnetic field, and that guides their movement, their behavior. It's absolutely incredible to understand the body from this perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can only imagine with the amount of digitization that we have in this world that some of
Mhm.
that impacts our body and our cells in that way too, because it's new, it's exciting. It enables us to do and understand this, and at the same time,
Yeah,
understanding the impact that it can have physically, I think is really important. Is that true? How much does that
yeah.
impact us?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when we're talking about quantum biology, we're just pairing it with what's happening naturally in the body, what's happening naturally in the natural rhythms outside,
Mhm.
as well as those man-made influences, right? And electromagnetic fields that we're being exposed to through some of the modern Wi-Fi out there seems to be having some effects on the body that we should be exploring more, we should be researching more, and we should be cognizant of. For example, I have my router, my Wi-Fi router outside. I unplug it at night.
Mm.
Um, we just ordered a kit so we can wire that just to lessen some of this exposure that we're exposed to 24/7. And like you said, it's incredible. Our technology is incredible. We get to sit here and talk to each other and
Yep,
see each other, right? It's wonderful, and we have so much information at our fingertips with the internet. But I think that there's a balance that
mhm,
now many people are understanding that we can have both. We
yes.
can have all of this incredible technology, and we can make it a little bit safer.
Yes. Yeah, I think I adore that because the "and," right? It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be an "or." "Oh, you can't have this, we have to go live in the woods and not see anybody." It's like, "No."
Yeah.
Maybe, but also
Yeah. Some days, yeah.
maybe some days that's what I want, but other days, this is amazing, and I don't wanna let go of this, and so just the awareness
Mhm.
that we need to start to incorporate these things or think about reincorporating them into our lives in a way where we're conscious, like you said, or aware of the fact that we are doing it. So, what else do I need to do to support my body based on this input? Now, maybe I need to add a little bit more of this other input to kind of
Yeah.
find that harmony. Is that how you would think about how we live in a modern world with this quantum knowledge emerging for us? How do we start to strike that balance for ourselves?
Great question. And I think that that's one of the biggest obstacles people have when they start learning about this expanded understanding of the body. It's like, oh my goodness, where do I start? This is huge. And really, they're very simple steps we can take, right? We can, like I mentioned, we can go outside and we can get natural light in our eyes for a few minutes in the morning. And as that light enters our eye, it hits the thin layer of cells in the back of the eye, the retina. There are all these light sensitive proteins in that retina, and that sends a signal to the center of the brain, which then translates and sends signals throughout the body to all those circadian clocks and genes and starts all those valuable biological cascades of hormones, immune systems, inflammatory balance, our metabolism, our cardiovascular function, digestive function, all of those things. And it's just, about 5 to 10 minutes on a sunny day, 15 minutes on a cloudy day. That is a huge payoff for a short amount of time. Perhaps drinking tea, doing some stretching outside, something really easy. Or now, where I'm at in the Pacific Northwest, the sun is coming up really late in the morning. So I often talk about with people just lowering the window, just creating a little crack in the window when you're driving to work, letting that natural light come into the car as you're driving. That gets into your eyes, and it's the rising level of blue light and ultraviolet A light that signals to the body, okay, it's time to go. And then getting natural light throughout the day. Again, short amount of time taking a 10-minute walk outside, eating a meal outside, taking a call outside, and then lowering the lights at night. And this just looks like turning off some of those LED lights, moving to something like salt lamps or incandescent bulbs. They're specialty bulbs out there. They're blue light blocking glasses because when you look at our modern lighting, I look up
I know.
because I've got
As
it
I'm
here.
bathing in it right now.
Yeah. It's it's rich in this narrow band of blue light, and that tells our body that it's noon and we need to secrete cortisol. And that's great if it's noon. But if it's 8 o'clock at night, that blocks the secretion of melatonin. It blocks our ability to have that restorative sleep where cells are recycled and repaired, or they are swept out of the body if they're dysfunctional or not working. And that's so important. Melatonin is a master antioxidant, and it's really tied to so many biological functions and systems in the body, like our immune system, like our metabolism, our thyroid hormone, insulin, all of these things work together. So, taking these key breaks throughout the day where we're getting natural light doesn't mean that we have to go live in the woods. It doesn't mean that we have to forego all of our modern conveniences and comforts. It's just about the understanding of how important that light is and making time. What I mentioned right there, it's less than a half an hour a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot of effort. It can look like not even going outside, but opening a window to let that light in. So these are really simple steps that have a foundational impact on the overall health, wellness, and function in the body.
Mm. That was actually one of the greatest questions I've had is if I do crack the window, that allows them to get in, right? I know the window blocks things, but how much do I actually have to be outside versus how much can it come in? So that's an answer to a personal question that I've had, but just knowing that even a window that perceivably lets light in, I think of it as the waves, right? Like the waves can't come through the glass that we have at least. So just crack it so that they can come in and that really works.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we're kind of like fish in water. We
Yeah.
don't recognize how enveloped we are in
Mhm.
light, and we often think of it like torches or flashlights, like
Yeah.
that beam of light is where the light is. But that's not how light works. It refracts and bounces off everything. So if I had my spectrometer, my little light measuring device that measures how intense the light is and
Mhm.
what the spectrum of light is through ultraviolet, visible, infrared, what is that spectrum? If I have all of my windows closed and my lighting is that modern LED lighting, you're going to see that big band of blue light, but not even the whole spectrum of blue light. It's just a spike within that range of visible light in the blue light.
Mhm.
You're not going to see a lot of red light at all, no infrared light. And the intensity is going to be much lower than it is outside, even on a cloudy, dreary, gray winter day. If I crack the window, what you see is all of that visible light, green, yellow, orange, red, that comes up as well as the blue light, and that infrared light comes up, and the intensity is much bigger. Like if we think of light as a nutrient,
Mhm.
it's much more nutrient dense outside with natural light, and just cracking that window allows for that light to come in, and that light has so many different things. We're talking about circadian biology and how the light works, but also that infrared and red spectrum that is present anytime the sun is up. It's so supportive of those mitochondria that we were talking about before, of that cellular energy, of health, of longevity. It's really incredible all the research and knowledge that's coming out about light and how it impacts our health.
Very cool. I love that connection to nutrient density. That's just a very simple way to think about and the fish in water, right? That like we don't think about how much we're swimming in it or that we can't feel it the same way I can feel the table and the chair, but it is there. And um, just like a piece of food, how much nutrient density is in this apple versus this apple, depending upon how they were grown, right? Or whatever that happens to be. That's just such an easy concept to start to think about the space in between, if you will, of our rooms, between our bodies, between the physical objects that we can touch. And I love how approachable because as we were talking about jumping out into the woods, oftentimes as you start to dive into these subjects, it's like, and I'm out. I have to go live somewhere. This is impossible to live in this modern world. But if we think about as a recovering and still perfectionist, I think about how I'm like, okay, now I have to be outside all the time, as much outside time as possible. And I really hold myself to really high standards when I can maybe give myself a little bit of grace that we open the doors and windows as much of the year as possible. Like the moment that we can, we're like, open the window. And that's great. That's a bridge. That doesn't have to mean that I'm not doing enough yet.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that phrase. Please, let's have grace with ourselves, right? Because these small steps really do have so much power in them.
Yeah, yeah, and they're what add up, right? That
Mhm.
it makes it a little bit more sustainable. We can't just, make the entire world disappear that exists with the
Right.
stores and the office buildings and all the artificial light, but we can incorporate small things, build habits that allow us to take that walk during the middle of the day, which has multitude of benefits, not just the light, but those little things, if we can start to incorporate them, can add up to big shifts and changes for us. And I love
Absolutely, absolutely. It really is those little steps that add up bit by bit. And
that. Yeah.
these are signals that our body has had forever, right? As humans, we've had all these signals of the light, of the different sounds, of all these waves of information. And modern life has done an incredible job putting up obstacles and barriers to these signals. So it's just about reminding the body, yep, you're still here. We still do a 24-hour cycle. We're still doing this thing that we've done forever. And it just guides and informs our health.
Yeah. We humans love a good challenge, right? It would be too easy if
Yep.
we can't just make it that simple. We need a little perseverance in there too.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, for I would love to touch on then because I imagine that this beautiful new book that we'll be releasing when this episode comes out is something that is a great place to start to incorporate, to understand. Can you share a little bit more about what people could expect in the book?
Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited. My new book, Optimize, it comes out today, right? January 6th. And it is all about this information. It shares this new knowledge, it shares the research behind it, and it walks through 7 different steps. That's what it's called, Optimize 7 groundbreaking steps to better health and longevity through quantum biology. So it looks at the water within the body. It looks at our body as an electrical being and what that means. The light, not only within the body, but around us, like we've been talking about. It looks at our relationship with nature and how we sync with the seasons and the temperatures and how we can utilize that for better health and longevity. It looks at the power of our thoughts and emotions. It looks at sound, how these things, again, just educate and inform action in the body. It looks at the immune system and the microbiome from a different perspective, from this perspective of light and sound and electrical fields. And those are the main chapters that introduce this expanded understanding and the research, but they also end with several pages of, okay, so now what? How do I implement this? And so there's practical, easy, accessible steps for someone to apply that day, right then. They're all free, they're all accessible, and it just is broken down between this expanded understanding of the body and really easy, practical steps
Mhm.
listed out in bullet form. So it's
Yes.
like, really easy for us to understand because I am living here too. I am not unfamiliar with the pressures of modern life, and sometimes we just need that information and we just need it made simple and made accessible. So the book really has both of that, all the information, all the research, and then the practical tools as well.
I love that. It's like a handbook of,
Yeah.
okay, here's what I can do now that I've learned and absorbed, and maybe one of them speaks to you more specifically than another one. You can start there. Is there any I'm sure it's the 7 steps, so I'm sure you go through in an order that would be most ideal to start with step 1, but, um, we didn't even talk about water yet and the amount of, information that it stores in our body. I can't wait to read this book.
Yeah, it's been a true labor of love. I really love this information, and that's also woven throughout the book, this understanding that this information, while it's new, cutting edge research, it really echoes what ancient indigenous cultures always spoke about.
Yeah.
Greeting that morning light, right? The power of water, all these different things, the body as a flow of different energy,
Mhm.
meridians. I mean, all of these things have been echoed, and that's the last chapter. It talks about a reconciliation between our modern kind of chemical mechanical model and this idea of the body and waves of information and this ancient wisdom that has always been walking with us as humans. And I think that understanding that they can be married and have much more benefits. So I'm I'm just excited about the book and hope people enjoy it.
Oh, I have no doubt it sounds amazing, and I think it's gonna be one of the best things to happen this year. I'm really excited about this book for you and for the world, honestly, which tees up where I wanted to kinda go next, which is a little bit more playful and fun. So, we're stepping into 2026. Holy jamoli, I don't know how we got here, but here we are. And if I look back over the last couple of years of holistic health and health science and things that have been emerging, we had a real resurgence of gut health. We had a real resurgence
Yeah.
of nervous system regulation, right?
Yeah.
Lots of things baked in, depending on how deep you go into this world. And you can kind of see some things that kind of catch on in what we'll call the mainstream that more and more people
Mhm.
are talking about. So let's have a little fun and think about what do we think is going to be catching on in 2026 that everybody's going to be talking about from a health and wellness
Mhm.
perspective. What do you see starting to make waves or start to kind of trickle up? I would love to hear your thoughts.
That is a fun area to explore, right? And think about what is going to happen this next year. And I think the trends are towards more natural, more non invasive, and simple steps. I think that over the last several years, we've kind of been inundated with really complicated biohacking schemes, right? And it just gets
Yes.
overwhelming, like, "Okay, I do this and that, and my morning routine is 90 minutes long, and who has that time?" Right? And so I I really think that we might be looking at this simple return. The thing that keeps coming to me is the great remembering. Like,
Yeah.
we are going to remember how simple health can be and how
Mhm.
powerful doing something we love is
Yeah.
for our health.
Yeah.
Being with people we love, how powerful that is, how light is powerful, how sound is powerful, how these simple things. And what I see in the years prior is more and more people and healthcare professionals are wanting this. I teach a practitioner course, and I've got interns and MDs and psychologists, all these people wanting a
Yeah.
simple, effective thing that they can talk with their patients about, that they can leave the office and do right then, that isn't overwhelming, that isn't another measure of perfection, right?
Mhm.
It is these simple things that hold us. So I'm really excited about that resurgence of health can be simple. Health can
Yeah.
be easy. Health is our natural state. It's not this um, 90 different supplements and
Yes.
cold plunges and da. I mean, those things can be wonderful, absolutely. But also there's a simplicity and
Mm,
a natural state of health that we all have. And so I
yes.
hope that's what 2026 is going to embrace this year.
Yeah. Oh, I love that concept. I think, I can see the arc of us living in a world of instant gratification and at the same time being really skeptical of instant gratification, right? It's kind of an interesting um oxymoron, I guess, that I see in the world of, "Oh, well, I thought it was gonna heal me today." And it's like, "Oh, but it didn't heal me today." Well, nothing's true that it heals you today. And I'm like, how do we hold to those 2 things? So can we also hold something can be simple and powerful at the same time? That's a new and that I think that's a great prediction that we can really move into that space of holding those 2 truths to be
Mhm.
true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I would be curious your thoughts, as we think about, like, the quantum way and world of us being able to just expand our awareness and our thought process into being able to embrace more of the unseen and
Mhm.
those modalities, which is everything you're talking about in some ways, right? That
Mhm.
I think that skeptical human nature, for better for worse, is in there of like, yeah, but I can't see it. And I've been told for a really long time I'm supposed to see it. And
Yeah.
do we think that people are more trusting of the unseen?
That's a beautiful question, and I hope that we are getting there. I hope that we're understanding not only is there power in the unseen, but there's also power in the faith that we have of the unseen.
Yeah.
Just that can be so powerful. Just our thoughts, our words, our self-talk can
Yeah.
be incredibly powerful.
Mm,
And also, the exciting thing is we are at the stage where we can measure some of these things. And we can say, okay, a cell has a measurable electromagnetic field. We can't see it,
yeah.
but we can measure it. And we
Mm,
can see what it does. And it guides that cell's behavior and movement. That's foundational. And so I think that we're in this beautiful dance right now of remembering that the unseen has power, and so does our faith of the unseen.
mm,
And besides that, we have things to measure that, to bolster that faith, and to remind us that that's really part of being human. We can't see love, but we can
yeah.
feel it, and we know the power of that. So bringing some of those ideas back into our healing spaces, I think is really important.
Oh, yes. And that example of not being able to see love, but to feel it is such a beautiful example of how to trust in the unseen, and I often try to describe it, or think about it as I'm in this room right now, and we're having this amazing conversation, and I may have planted 15 different seeds at home, with my husband, with my friend, with whoever I was texting, and those seeds, whether that was just a comment or a thought or an idea or whatever that is, are all actually growing. And I can't see them right now. And that could be he's putting away the laundry. That's out there, right? Yes, that's happening. Right? I can't see any of those things actually happening right now, but they can and should hopefully. Or I'm hoping that they are, right? And so can we trust if we do it that way that we can do the same thinking about our body and our body doing things that we can't see or us interacting with things that we can't see? Because we actually do it all the time, even though we're not thinking about it quite the same way. We move through the world that way, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we don't recognize it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that recognition right there is
Mm.
medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do love that you mentioned the idea of faith, believing in it, and also just joy and happiness and um, that experience of life being medicine in and of itself. As I glossed over a little bit before, too, being the perfectionist that wants to do all the health things right. Sometimes I get lost in how hard I'm working to be perfect at it or to do it right or to feel good and working really hard. And sometimes it requires a really deep breath to bring myself back to it's okay if I eat the thing that I'm not supposed to eat because I enjoy the cookie and that's okay.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
Really helps strike
absolutely.
that balance. Yes. Yes. I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that somebody I know says a happy hamburger is much better than an angry salad. Like it's, and it's it's true to a certain extent, right? Like if we definitely want to eat well and those things, but part of eating well is having that emotional experience, right? Having that cultural experience of the food we grew up with, of the food that is part of our community. So it's a balance, and we really have gotten so far out of balance, this black
Yeah.
and white. It has to be all or nothing. And really, it's much more fluid than that.
Mhm. Yeah, it really is, and I appreciate that. That all I can think of is, I can't eat all happy hamburgers. Even the happiest they make me, they can't eat all happy but that's amazing. I'm definitely taking that one with me. Um, um, I'm curious with this balance, what is it that you see is the greatest obstacle for humans to be able to embrace the balance and the harmony? What is it that's, our mountain or our hill to climb right now to be able to step into that? Because it is simple and it's right in front of us and there's so much good knowledge now and science and lots of things. So what do we have to overcome this year in order to really have that be the trending topic of the year that everybody's figuring out how to be simple and balanced?
Mhm. I think you brought it up before. I
Mm,
think that us having grace ourselves,
mm,
we are often our biggest critics. We're often the ones that are holding us to this enormous to-do list, and if it's
mm,
not done, then we failed for the day, right? This idea that it's all or nothing. I think that if we have a little bit more grace with
mm.
ourselves, with our families, with our communities, I mean, think of on a global level if we had more grace with each other. So I'm sending that as a wish for 2026, that we
Yeah.
can all collectively just have some more grace with ourselves. We're humans. Humans are messy, but we are beautiful. And there is this incredible capacity to love and to heal and to
Mm,
be in community. So I think that just being a little more gentle with ourselves can bring about some pretty tremendous change.
yeah. I've heard somebody say Would you say that to your best friend if that's
Mm,
what they said, right? If I'm saying to myself, "Oh, I have this oh, I failed today. I didn't get X, Y, or Z done." If your best friend said that to you, how would you respond? You wouldn't say, "Yeah, you're the worst ever," and, "Oh my gosh, of course you failed." No, that wouldn't be it. You'd say, "It wasn't meant to happen today. It's okay. There's another day tomorrow," or, lots of different things that I think allow grace in our relationships, and how can we build that better relationship with ourselves in that way feels
yeah.
important. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that. I Okay, so we're done with intense stacking of biohacks and morning routines that take longer than I can even write a list about. We're done with those. We're done with complex protocols and intensity and perfection and black and white. Done. We are
Mhm,
stepping into trusting the unknown and believing in it and embracing it actually as
mhm,
a way in which we live. The simplicity that things don't have to be complicated to enable this state of wellness, health. I love how you said that health is a state that we can just be in. We don't always have to be working towards it. We don't always have to be managing it, that it can be,
mhm,
which feels really good to feel like, oh, okay. It's not always going to be this uphill battle, or I'm not always working to feel good. It's nice to think,
mhm.
maybe a check-in, like, maybe I feel good and I don't need to work anymore. I can just be, in that. That feels really good. Um, and some grace.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's time for us to remember how powerful those things can be. Um, it's it's been a wild several years, right? And I think 2026 is a perfect time for us to return to a relationship with ourself, our relationship with our families and communities, a relationship with nature. All of these things can hold us and bring us a deep sense of safety and belonging. And that right there is some of the most powerful medicine that I've seen.
Oh, what a beautiful sentiment and statement to kick us off into the year. I adore that. This has been the most delightful conversation and really brings a whole bunch of light and joy and happiness into me as we kick off this year. And really, let's just be amazing. Let's have a great year and love it and have some more grace from ourselves, build that joy into our lives, and embrace the world around us. We have the tools available. We just need to remember them. I think that's a perfect send off. Anything else? We will have all of your website links, book details, all the extra things in the description of this episode. So everybody can look below and grab your copy of the book, as well as connect with Dr. Clinton so that you can explore more, whether you're a practitioner or a seeker learning to embrace this natural way. We encourage you to explore. Is there anything else you'd love to share with the audience before we wrap for today?
Oh, well, I just echo your sentiment that this has been a wonderful way to kick off the new year. It is such a beautiful understanding of remembering who we are and our place in the world. And so, thank you so much for having me on today. And thank you so much for letting me share about the book. And I think that we've created a special bonus for anybody that is getting the book. And these are video modules that kind of walk you through. They're called the Unlocking Your Quantum Biology, and everybody learns in different ways. So it's wonderful to kind of have something you can listen to, you can watch just short videos with practical tips, and I'm just really excited to be introduced to this community, and thank you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing how this comes to life in this year. So thank you, Catherine, for being here. And to everyone in the Great Connect, we will see you next time. Have a great day.
I so thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with Dr. Catherine Clinton. I'm so excited to be able to bring you this episode, this fresh perspective, and a wealth of knowledge that is going to set you into a new trajectory for your own well being. Remember, this year is all about reclaiming your health, empowering yourself, and we hope you'll come back every week to join us as we dig into various different health topics, products, creators, practitioners who are here to support you in your journey. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We are there and want to hear what you're thinking, what you want to learn about, and we will bring you amazing content throughout the course of the year. This is the world of holistic health. No matter whether you're starting fresh today, brand new to this journey, and just want to feel better, or you've been digging through holistic health for years and can't wait to hear what other people are thinking and exploring, because the well is deep. I look forward to having you with us. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Each of those helps us bring you more content and for this content to reach the person that needs it. Welcome to 2026. I'm so excited to be here with you.